I'm gonna tell you about a plane crash that happened in Alaska. The small plane was flying from Anchorage to King Salmon, and it crashed into a mountainside, killing all 4 people on board. The pilot of the plane was a 69-year-old man, and his 3 passengers were 2 men and a woman, all in their 20s. They were flying in a de Havilland Canada DHC-2 Beaver, a small, short takeoff and landing aircraft that's commonly used in Alaska for, flying between the small towns and villages that don't have big airports with long runways. This particular plane had been flying a lot of different routes in Alaska since 1974. It was a very experienced pilot, and the plane was well maintained. There was nothing in the plane's history that would indicate that it was unsafe to fly. So the pilot and the passengers got onto the plane in Anchorage at 10:30 in the morning. The plan was to fly over the coast of Tuxedonia, a town about 80 miles from Anchorage. And shortly after takeoff, the pilot contacted the Anchorage Tower and said that he was at 1,500 feet and climbing, and that he was on course to the checkpoint. The Anchorage Tower responded, "Roger that. Climb and speed at your discretion." And that was the last transmission from the Anchorage Tower to the plane. After that, the pilot of the plane decided to make a low pass over the coast just to get a look at it because, it's Alaska and there's beautiful scenery everywhere. So he banked the plane to the left and started the descent down to 800 feet. According to the flight following, the plane then made a right-hand turn and started climbing away from the coast. The pilot probably decided to get a look at the other side of the coast. But as the plane turned, it impacted the side of a mountain that was 3,300 feet high. The impact was so violent that the plane was obliterated. All 4 people on board were killed instantly. The impact also started a small fire, but it didn't spread because there was so much snow on the ground. Now this is Alaska, right? So it was snowing the day of the crash, and there was a lot of snow on the ground. The pilot probably thought that he had enough altitude to clear the mountain, but he didn't. You can't really tell on the video, but that mountain is pretty big. I mean, if you're flying a small plane, you gotta be really careful, because sometimes mountains can sneak up on you in the clouds, and that's what I think happened here. He was flying in bad weather, and he wasn't paying attention, and he flew right into the mountain. This is one of the scariest things that can happen to a pilot, flying into terrain, especially when you're flying a small plane like this. There's no autopilot. You have to be constantly scanning the outside world to make sure that you're safe. But sometimes it only takes a second for something to go wrong. And if that something goes wrong, it's usually fatal.